On a hot summer day,
Ring off the rope without untying the knot.
The jam-packed Halifax waterfront offers a snapshot of the busy tourism vibe in this province.
We're 29% ahead of passenger counts based on this time last year.
The tourism operators say business is on track for a record-breaking year, locally and nationally. According to Stats Canada, tourism revenue across the country has climbed more than 5% compared to the same time frame in 2025.
We're having increased Americans taking advantage of the American dollar. We're seeing Canadians stay home.
Donna Riani and her husband are visiting from Boston for the first time.
Well, obviously the U.S. is not a friendly neighbor anymore.
Given the recent tariff tensions between the two countries, Riani is here to see the sights and show support for her northern neighbors.
It's something I wanted to do. It's nice.
Canada is turning a trade fight into a huge advantage, and the United States is paying the price. Americans are choosing Canada for better value, filling its streets, hotels, and shops with new business. While Canada enjoys the rewards, the US is losing more than many expected. The trade war was supposed to divide the two countries. Instead, it is sending Americans north in record numbers. Inbound US trips to Canada just surged 6.1%, breaking a 12-month slide powered by a strong American dollar that makes Canada an irresistible bargain. More than 950,000 American travelers are pouring into Vancouver, Toronto, Calgary, and Quebec City. And while Americans flood in, Canadians are staying home, turning both trends into one of Canada's strongest tourism seasons in years. The numbers behind the American surge are specific and striking. According to macro indicators vetted by Statistics Canada, the American Automobile Association, and the Conference Board of Canada, inbound US resident trips north surged 6.1%, breaking a 12-month downward slide. That influx was powered by an exceptionally strong greenback purchasing advantage, yielding 720,400 cross-border automotive entries, up 6.4%, and 239,200 commercial flights heading north, up 4.9%. Americans are driving and flying into Canada in numbers not seen in over a year, and the strong US dollar is the engine making every Canadian hotel, restaurant, and attraction feel like a discount. The travelers themselves describe a mix of value and solidarity. Donna Riani and her husband visited Canada from Boston for the first time this summer. Given the recent tariff tensions between the two countries, Riani said she came to see the sights and show support for her northern neighbors. Well, obviously, the USA is not a friendly neighbor anymore, Riani said. Being here is something I wanted to do, and it is nice. Her visit captures a pattern showing up across the border. Americans traveling to Canada not despite the political tensions, but partly because of them choosing to spend their vacation dollars in a country they want to support. The economic logic reinforces goodwill. While domestic travel costs within the United States continue to escalate under inflation, Canada offers an affordable, accessible, and highly attractive alternative for millions of American holidaymakers. American vacationers are increasingly naming Canadian urban centers as their primary international destinations. With the US dollar stretching further north of the border, a trip to Vancouver or Toronto delivers more value than a comparable vacation at home, turning economic pressure inside the United States into a direct driver of northbound travel. The geography of the boom follows the border corridors. Vancouver, Toronto, and Windsor have recorded noticeable increases in inbound travelers from Seattle, Bellingham, and Detroit. Short-term stays and road trips dominate the pattern, as Americans in border regions discover that a Canadian getaway is just a drive away. Vancouver stands alongside Toronto, Calgary, and Quebec City as the primary anchors of the surged metropolitan hospitality infrastructure across the country, revitalized by the historic northward migration of American visitors. The other half of the story is what Canadians are doing. As Americans flood in, Canadians are staying home in equally dramatic numbers. Outbound Canadian return trips from the United States plummeted 14.5% to 1.5 million, revealing a steep 31.5% multi-year contraction driven by consumer resistance over the tariff battles, immigration rhetoric, and premium non-resident fees. Canadians are boycotting US travel as a grassroots response to restrictive trade barriers and harsh political rhetoric. Every Canadian family that skips a US vacation keeps its spending inside Canada, doubling the benefit to the domestic tourism economy. And if you want the real story behind how Canada is still holding its ground through tariffs, wars, and hard times, hit join below to join the membership for exclusive documentaries you won't see anywhere else about Canada's progress and rise through uncertainty. That domestic spending has reached remarkable levels. Statistics Canada reported that domestic tourism spending reached $23.5 billion during just the first 3 months of 2026. Canadians are redirecting the money they once spent in Florida, New York, and California toward destinations within their own borders, national parks, cottage country escapes, and city breaks across the country. The shift represents billions of dollars staying in the Canadian economy that previously flowed south, supporting Canadian hotels, restaurants, attractions, and small businesses through the exact months when tourism revenue matters most. Individual Canadians describe the choice as deliberate. David Martel of Quebec City was tempted to travel to the United States, but ultimately decided to stay in Canada this summer. I figured for now I'm going to support the local markets, Martel said. His decision reflects the broader sentiment driving the domestic boom, a conscious choice to keep tourism dollars at home during the trade conflict. Polls and industry experts point to a surge in Canadian patriotism and a growing perception of Canada as a safe, friendly destination as key forces behind the record-breaking summer. The scale of the domestic shift was forecast well before the summer arrived. The Conference Board of Canada estimated the redirection of Canadian travel could generate up to $8.8 billion in additional domestic tourism spending. Recent surveys showed only about 1 in 4 Canadians now considering a US trip in the coming year, down dramatically from more than half just months earlier. The weaker Canadian dollar made cross-border shopping and travel more expensive for Canadians, while the same currency dynamic made Canada a bargain for Americans. The exchange rate cut both ways, discouraging Canadians from going south and encouraging Americans to come north. American policy has actively worsened the US position in this competition. The US Travel Association has criticized Washington's own approach. Its president and CEO, Jeff Freeman, warned that raising fees on lawful international visitors amounts to a self-imposed tariff, saying such fees do nothing but discourage visitation at a time when foreign travelers are already concerned about the welcome experience and high prices. While the United States erected barriers that deterred international visitors, Canada positioned itself as the open, welcoming alternative and captured the travelers the US pushed away. The border town cost to the United States is severe. The travel redirection is inflicting multi-billion-dollar structural losses on American border towns and Sunbelt hospitality businesses that built their capacity around Canadian visitors. Communities in border states and traditional snowbird destinations that depended on predictable Canadian tourism are absorbing the loss of the 1.5 million Canadian trips that vanished. The same trade war that sent Americans north simultaneously stripped away the Canadian visitors that American tourism businesses relied on, a double blow landing squarely on the American side. The trend appears durable rather than temporary. Even the modest early signs of Canadians tentatively returning to US travel, a 1.4% uptick in April 2026, roughly 1.8 million crossings, remain far below pre-conflict levels, while the American surge into Canada is accelerating. Tourism operators are optimistic that many first-time American visitors will return after experiencing Canada's landscapes, culture, and hospitality. A traveler who discovers Banff, Niagara Falls, or the Halifax waterfront for the first time is likely to come back, meaning the current boom could seed years of repeat visitation.